The Perfect Stroke, Lucas Brothers, Book 1, by Jordan Marie. Narrated by Scott Rose and Scarlett Reed.
Chapter 1. Cece. The trouble with being from a small town is that everyone knows everyone. I've lived here my whole life. It's not been good, but it's not been bad. We didn't have much, just me and Banger. Banger was my dad. Well, sort of. He's actually the old man that my womb donor shacked up with. She ran off with a traveling vacuum salesman when I was 7, and it's just been me and Banger ever since. Yes, I know my life has been pretty cliché. Ideal. Banger was a former POW. He's a big, growly, bearded mountain of a man who never made me feel unwanted. He didn't know much about having kids. Never mind if that kid was a girl. But we muddled through. By the time I was 10, I could change oil, rotate tires, and rebuild carburetors. By the time I was 15, I could rebuild an engine. I mastered transmissions at the age of 16. Banger said I was a natural, but the truth was that I just wanted to make him proud. He owned the only garage in town, and I wanted to make sure I helped him as much as I could. He found out he had cancer on my 17th birthday. We got drunk together. Banger was many things, but he wasn't worried about legalities or society rules. It's probably one of the things I loved most about him. He passed away the summer I turned 19, and I just kind of found myself taking over the garage. Now, at the age of 26, the people in Crossville, Kentucky know me pretty well. They've learned to trust my work, and Claude's garage stays busy. That's my name, by the way, Claudia Cooper. Banger always called me Claude, and it just stuck. If it ever bothered me, I've learned to accept it now. I've found that with life, you just have to deal with what it gives you. Things could always be worse. But back to why I'm in Lexington tonight. Lexington is probably the closest city to Crossville. It takes me almost 3 hours to drive here. I do it often. I do it because I know that if I don't escape Crossville from time to time, I'll probably end up being one of those crazies on the 6 o'clock news who goes postal. Really, it's a public service I'm doing. People should be grateful. Ready for a refill, darling? I grin up at the bartender, who admittedly is the only reason I stayed at this bar. It's not my speed. I'm more into the biker bar about 3 streets over. One of my customers recommended this place because they have a live band on Saturday night. 10 minutes in, when the band started singing a Black Eyed Peas song that I could barely remember, I knew I was in trouble. Then Mr. Tall, blue eyes and faded jeans with holes, black t-shirt and curly, sandy brown hair, smiled at me. He got me a drink, and I've been here ever since. Sure, he got me a drink because he's the bartender, but he keeps looking at my boobs. I think it's pretty clear what's going on here. Hit me, I tell him with an easy grin. Easy because after a shot of Jack and then a glass of Jack and Coke on top of that, I'm pretty damn loose. So loose that with this second drink, I'm pretty sure my ass will be finding a hotel to snooze the night away. Maybe I can persuade the bartender to go with me. Again, do not judge me. The last time I had sex, I'm pretty sure, was 2 presidents ago. If you want to do the math, we're talking 6 years. 6 years. Women can say what they want about vibrators, but they do not, under any circumstance, take the place of the real thing. And the bartender who keeps smiling at me definitely looks like he could be packing the real thing. Damn, babe, you're busy tonight. I hear a deep voice say in front of me. When I look up, another man who looks like he just stepped off the pages of the Sexiest Man Alive magazine is talking. Unfortunately, to the bartender I've had my eye on. They share a quick but heated kiss. I cry a little bit inside, giving up my dream of me and the bartender tonight, and go back to my drink. That saying about all the good ones being married or gay is so freaking true. It's probably why I am still single, and my friend Raymond has a great guy at home. Can I buy you another, Sweet Lips? Sweet lips. I don't think so, I tell him, barely looking up. It doesn't matter what he looks like. Being called sweet lips is enough to turn me off immediately. I'll have a scotch and get the lady whatever she's having. The lady is just fine. Persistent, aren't you? Sometimes it pays to be, he says, and finally his country twang and the aw shucks good old boy vibe makes me look up. He's tall and broad, with brown, sandy hair shaved close, a 5 o'clock shadow, which is so dark I'd say it's closer to 6, brown eyes, and a face that looks like a sculptor chiseled it from stone. A god, maybe. He's that pretty. Though he fires everything feminine up inside of me, his good looks are a turnoff. I've dated a perfect guy before. The only thing, I don't need to go back down that road again. Ever. I was just getting ready to leave, I tell him, and that's not a complete lie. Don't leave yet. You're the first thing I've seen that gives me a reason for being in this town. What's your name? Well, it's definitely not Sweet Lips, I tell him, picking up the new drink the man of my dreams bartender, though gay and taken, puts down. The guy smiles at my comment and sits down beside me, then leans into me like we're long-lost lovers. I try to ignore the way he smells, but find it's a little impossible. He wears a cologne that I've never smelled before. It must feed every pheromone I've got, because combined with his rugged male scent, it's making a woman like me drunk and horny. Dangerous. He's definitely dangerous. I may want a good time, but this guy screams player, rich player. The bartender's much more my speed. It's not that I'm a snob, just the opposite, really. I find that rich people are obnoxious as hell. I bet your lips are sweet, though, darling. Obnoxious, even if guys like him are cute when they're trying to get laid. I lean into him with a smile. I run my tongue over my lip, just for good measure. That's something you'll never find out, I whisper, and take another sip of my drink. He stops for a minute, like my reply shocked him, and then he gives me a deep grin that even makes his brown eyes twinkle. Damn. I always did like a challenge, he says, and I can feel excitement thrum through my system. I hear the alarm and danger bells going off. I just don't seem able to stop staring into his eyes. Did I mention damn?
Chapter 2. Gray. She doesn't know who I am. It's a strange feeling, although not at all unpleasant. Let's face it, I realize golf isn't the most exciting sport. The major draw here in the state of Kentucky is horse racing or college basketball, so odds were in favor of me not being recognized, but it surprises me just the same. Still, it's almost tourney time and golf has been monopolizing the news. It's not that I'm bragging or anything, but fuck, I've seen my face so often on the sports shows I just assumed everyone else has. There can be no mistaking that this woman clearly doesn't know who I am. I haven't had a woman want me just for me and not my name or my bank account. There's just one problem. Sweet Lips here doesn't seem to want me. Challenge placed and accepted. I won't give up until I have her under me, screaming my name. I always did like a challenge, I tell her with a practiced grin. It's not really bragging when I admit that this grin has literally got me into the pants of hundreds of women, and some are even prettier than the beauty staring at me now. She's a banging little redhead with green eyes who has legs that go for miles, curves that should be illegal, perfect tits, and an ass that I'm sure make men beg. Hell, I want to beg now. That aside, there's something about this particular woman that appeals to me in ways no other woman has for far too long. I could say it has to do with the fact that she doesn't know who I am. Perhaps it is, and the novelty will wear off after I fuck her brains out. It wasn't a challenge, she says, taking a sip of her drink.